Hey everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make this big bulky basket. I call it my best bulky basket because it's my favorite that I've made so far. It's a nice big basket. It measures across about 12 inches and it's about 6 inches tall. And it works up super fast because we're using super chunky yarn and a great big crochet hook. Now you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog, as always, down in the notes underneath this video. To make our big bulky basket, you're going to need some bulky yarn. I'm going to be using Yarnspiration's Bernat Pop Bulky. It's a super bulky number 6. And you're going to need about 9 ounces. Now, if you don't have a chunky yarn, there's a couple other things that you can use. A t-shirt yarn would work great for this basket. And if you don't have that, you can use 3 strands of medium weight number 4 yarn and hold them together to get about the same thickness as a bulky number 6. The idea behind this basket is that we want it to stitch up quickly and be nice and bulky. We're going to be stitching today with our 10 millimeter hook. This one is an N 10 millimeter crochet hook. You're going to need a needle that has a really big eye in it so we can get it through the yarn just for weaving in. And then of course you'll need your scissors. We're going to begin with a slip knot. We're going to chain 5. Some more yarn out here. We're going to take this chain 5 and form it into a circle. So we'll put the tail of yarn over our hook and pull it through our loop and snug that down, and then we'll tie that little stay knot that keeps our 5 chain circle from coming undone. We'll go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to stitch 9 more double crochets so we have a total of 10. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2 loops. You'll notice I'm also stitching over this tail of yarn, and that's so I can close that hole when I finish. Alright, so I need to stitch 8 more so I have a total of 10 double crochets. And this will be a snug fit to get all 10 of our double crochets in that chain 5. All right, let's see how many I've stitched. Here's our chain 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need 2 more. There's 9 and 10. So I have 10 double crochets. I'm going to join to that top chain 3 of our beginning chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. All right, now you'll notice that you'll have a hole. Sometimes you have a large hole, sometimes you don't, but just in case, we're going to gently pull on that tail of yarn that we stitched over. We're going to grab that needle, and I know when working with a bulky yarn, sometimes it's easier if you untwirl the end of it, fold it over, and put it through the needle hole that way. Can make it just a little bit easier. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go around, making sure it's gathered nicely. Once we see that that hole is closed, we'll go forward a stitch or 2, go through and do that again. This is just going to keep the hole from opening up on the inside or outside of our basket. All right, so now I'll just cut that off. And for row 1, we have 10 double crochets. For row 2, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of these 10 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as our first, so we'll stitch another double crochet in that same stitch as our chain 3. And then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. And I think you'll already notice how quickly this basket is going to stitch up when you see how quickly row 2 is. Because we're using a nice big crochet hook and thick yarn, and this is going to make a lovely basket. So I'm going to continue around stitching 2 double crochets in each of my stitches, and I'll join back to my chain 3. I've completed row 2, stitching 2 double crochets in each of my 10, so now I have 20 double crochets. I joined to the top of my chain 3 and chained 3. And what we're going to do for row 3 is basically repeat row 2. We're just going to have more stitches. So we're going to place a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of those 20 double crochets around. And this is going to make the bottom of our basket nice and flat. We don't want it rolling up like a bowl. We want it to be nice and flat. So we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of those 20 double crochets around. We'll continue this around and we'll join back to our chain 3. Whoops. 2 double crochets in each of those 20 double crochets around, join to our chain 3 and chain 3. So I completed row 3. You should have 40 double crochets. Now for row 4, we're going to be doing what I call 1 and 2. We're going to be placing 1 double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the next. And 1 double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this all the way around. 2 double crochets in the next double crochet. And 1 double crochet in the next. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2. It's not an official term, of course. It's just something that helps me remember what I'm supposed to be doing for this row. All right, so I'm going to continue working around, stitching 1 double crochet in the next and 2 double crochets in the next. And repeat, working all the way around the bottom of our basket, and I'll join back to my chain 3, stitching 1 and 2. I've completed my 4th row. You might notice that it's a little bit ripply or seems like your stitches are too tight. don't worry. This next row is going to help that smooth out nicely. You should have 60 double crochets for row 4. We joined to our chain 3 and chained 3. Now, for our next row, we're going to only stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. And we're going to be stitching this row in the back loops only. So if you look at the top of your stitches, you have loops on this side and loops on this side. The loops that are facing you are your front loops. The loops that are on the outside are your back loops. And we're going to be placing 1 double crochet in each of the back loops of the double crochets. So we'll yarn over and we'll go in the back loop and stitch our double crochet. And as you stitch, you'll notice that a line forms across, and that's just the loop that we didn't stitch in. And by stitching in the back loop only, this is going to help our basket stand up a little bit better and just look a little bit crisper. We don't want it to have a rounded edge because this is going to end up being the outside, and it's going to sit like this. And we want that edge to stand up nicely because we're beginning to form the sides of our basket. All right, so we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around, working in the back loops only. We're not going to be doing any more increasing. Whoops. Working with a chunky crochet hook and chunky yarn can be a little bit clumsy at first, but once you get going, you'll find it works out just nice. And the fact that it works up quickly is fun. All right, so I'm going to continue around, working 1 double crochet in each of my double crochets around, working in the back loops only, and then I'll join back to the top of my chain 3. I completed my 5th row, working in the back loops only, and you'll see that we have that line from where we didn't stitch in our front loops, and that just helps the side of the basket sit up nicely. Now for row 6, we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. We're not going to work in the back loops only. So we'll go right in our next stitch and stitch a double crochet, and we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. Whoops. There we go. No more back loop, front loop, or any of that. Just your regular double crochet in each of the double crochets around. One double crochet in each double crochet around, and we'll join back to our chain 3. I completed row 6, stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, and you still should have 60 double crochets. I joined to the top of my chain 3, and I'm only going to chain 1. And that's because for row 7, we're going to do a row of single crochets. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets around. one single crochet in each of the double crochets around, and then we'll move all the way around our basket and we'll join back to our first single crochet because our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So just to repeat, one single crochet in each of the double crochets around. I've completed this row of one single crochet in each of the double crochets around. You're going to have 60 single crochets. We're going to join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 3. On this row, we're going to be doing our cross stitch row. And what we'll do, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And so now we're going to cross back to the single crochet stitch before the chain 1, and we're going to stitch a triple. So we're going to have 2 wraps on our hook, cross back, yarn over, and pull through. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the third 2 loops. There's our first cross stitch. We're going to skip this next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, now we're going to put 2 wraps on our hook. We're going to cross back, going from behind, pull up a loop, and stitch our triple. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the third 2. And now you can more distinctly see our cross stitch. And we'll do this all the way around. So we'll skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, we'll cross back and triple in that crossed back stitch. Now you may need to take your time a little bit on this one, but it's totally worth the effort because it looks adorable on this basket. We skipped a stitch, we double crocheted in the next, and now we're going to cross back and triple in that stitch we skipped. Skip, double crochet in the next. We're going to triple, moving from the back to the front of that stitch. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the way that looks on a basket. All right, so I'm going to continue working around. Skip, double, cross back, and triple in that skipped stitch. And again, I'm going to continue all the way around, and then I'll show you how to join back to your chain 3 over here. So we'll just continue around doing our skip, double crochet, cross back and do our triple, and repeat all the way around our basket. I've completed my last cross stitch, and how we join is you want to make sure you join to that beginning chain 3 that we initially crossed over. Alright, so you're going to go in that chain 3 and stitch a slip stitch, and we're just going to chain 1. Now you should have 30 cross stitches because each cross stitch takes 2 stitches and we have 60 stitches. So you'll have 30 cross stitches. For row 9, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Now, when we do a row of cross stitch, it can be a little bit difficult knowing where to find your stitches. And so you're going to want to follow your loops across the top. All right, so we'll go in, stitch our single crochet, stitching in each of those sets of loops across the top, because when you cross stitch, you look at it and it can be a little confusing. And so don't look at the front as much, just go around, working around the top, making sure that you put your single crochet in each stitch, and when you get around you should have 60 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in each of the stitches around. When we get back around, we'll join to our first single crochet. I completed row 9, stitching 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around. I'm going to join to my first single crochet. And the reason we join to the single crochet instead of the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. If we were to join to the chain 1, we'd have 1 extra stitch. So we're joining to the first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now for row 10, we are again just going to place 1 single crochet in each of the stitches around. One single crochet in each of the single crochets working around our basket, and then again we'll join back to our first single crochet. After that, I'm going to show you how to add the handles, and then we'll be finished, and our basket will be ready to fill with all kinds of goodies, although mine's probably going to be filled with yarn. All right, so 1 single crochet in each single crochet around, and we'll join back to our single crochet. I've completed row 10, which is our second row of single crochet around. And now on this row, I'm going to show you how to add those handles. We join to our first single crochet, and what we're going to do is single crochet in the first 11 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is going to become our handle. We're going to skip 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. And that counts as our first single crochet there. Now you can see where we have our handle. We're going to single crochet in the next 21 single crochets, and with this one it'll give us a total of 22. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 21, and 22. Now we're going to chain 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to skip the next 8 stitches like we did over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just want to make sure. All right, so now we're going to place our single crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the next 10 stitches, plus the one that we had there. So that will be 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we're going to join to our first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And so now you can see that we have 2 handles for our bag. The handles with just the chain is just a little bit flimsy. So what we're going to do for our last row is we're going to place a single crochet in each single crochet, and we're going to place 10 single crochets in this space where we chained 10. Then we'll single crochet across here, and then again we'll place 10 single crochets where we chain 10 for the handle, and then finish off single crocheting up the back of our basket. All right, so I'm going to single crochet in these first single crochets. There we go. One more. Then we'll place 10 single crochets around this chain 10. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that's going to give us a much sturdier handle for our basket. All right, so now we'll go on our first single crochet, and we'll single crochet till we reach that other handle, placing 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets. So I've single crocheted around this edge here on this side. I'm to the second handle, and I'm again going to place 10 single crochets in this handle. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now my second handle is nice and sturdy, and all I have left to do is to single crochet in these last few single crochets. All right, there's my 11th. I'm going to join to my first single crochet with a slip stitch. And now we're finished. I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to go in the next stitch and pull that loop to the back, and then I'll tie off to the back and weave that in with my big needle. Now we already took the time at the beginning to weave our first one in, so all we have left to do, if you're just using one strand of your bulky yarn or whatever you're doing, you should only have to weave in the beginning and the end, unless you changed colors, of course. All right, so we're just going to go inside. And it's a little more difficult when you're using bulky yarn and a big needle. So you're going to have to go through those stitches very carefully. But if you want your basket to hold, you need to weave that in. Alrighty. So now my basket is all done and ready to be filled with lots of yarn, or probably yarn. Yeah, yarn. So here's the basket that we made today. and this is the one that I used as my test. And you can see the way the yarn came out. It came out differently, but I love both the baskets, and now I have two nice big baskets for whatever project I want to put in it, whether it be for holidays or just with yarn.